Hemant is the founder and CEO of CollPoll. CollPoll is one of the leading organizations which is into end-to-end automation of the higher education ecosystem, from admission to examinations to their day-to-day management of the classes to the overall degree completion. So they are like having an end-to-end ICT automation solution, and I think it's a great opportunity when all the panelists in the first session and the whole theme is around digital. Hemant will actually talk about how to make it happen. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ravi. Thank you for the opportunity. So, hello everyone. My name is Hemant, and as Ravi introduced, CollPoll is an end-to-end technology provider to education institutions. So today I want to spend time specifically talking about blended learning and digital examination and how you can systematically adopt it and not just look at jugards, because we work with a lot of good institutions and we have been in touch with a lot of new institutions who have come up and discussed with us how to adopt digital learning. And we saw that when this happened, everybody sort of quickly moved on to adopting Zoom, Teams, and others, while there is so much more that goes in digital learning. So today the idea is to talk about those. So I'm just going to start my presentation. So, okay. I am hoping that everybody can see the screen. So the idea behind the today's discussion is to walk you through how you can adopt digital blended learning and digital examinations at your campus and what are the steps. So, quick introduction. We are a campus management digital learning and examination platform, which is available on web as well as Android app and iOS app, and it's totally scalable on cloud. So you don't need to worry about any investment in infrastructure, and you can use it anywhere you want, and it can easily integrate with several other tools that you would want to use, whether they are free online content or they are plagiarism check tools or several other things. And it's totally private to your campus. The product largely comes in four different layers. It starts with an administration ERP and then topped with a digital learning and examination system, followed by a campus workflow automation and then collaboration and engagement. Because all the four needs to be seamlessly in touch with each other if you really want to get the benefit out of technology. Moving on, we work with some of the best universities and institutions in the country. So, in the state of Rajasthan, we work with IHMR University as well as with Manipal Jaipur. So, quickly moving on, because the time is, this is where I want to spend most time, which is very, very important. That how do you adopt blended learning? And there are four parts to it. The first part is how do you streamline your academic processes? Second is how do you streamline your learning management system? And third is how do you get the intelligence to be in control of what is happening? How do you, stay in charge of things and make corrections if things are not going as per the plan? And finally, how do you really build strategy for a long-term result? Because technology adoption is not a few weeks or a few months thing. You will have to have sustained long-term efforts, which are very, very well thought out, and there is a scientific plan that backs it. So we're going to go deep into each one of them, and I'll try to cover academic process and learning management today, considering the restriction of time. So the first thing that you really need to think through, even before you go to online learning, are your academic processes in place? Are they well thought out as per your university or your institution? So an academic process for a law program or a law university will be different from something where if you're teaching liberal arts or if you're a design university or you're an engineering college. So four key things. You need to look at your master data, which is you need to have all your key data well organized. And this is something we have seen typically most of the institutions don't have sorted. They have a lot of Word files, Excel files, PDF, but they don't have this data structured on a single system so that it can be then extended to other technologies like learning management and others. So the idea is that you should have all your schools, programs, courses, all of them well organized so that setup is there. Second thing comes is that you need to think about each and every course in a detailed way. What are the objectives, outcomes that you want to achieve from each course? What is the syllabus and topics you want to teach? Because each topic will define whether this topic can be taught online in a live class, whether this topic can be taught in a pre-recorded video, or this topic needs an in-class experience-based education, especially in things like engineering. You need to allocate module-wise learning hours so that the faculty members are prepared well enough in advance. And then you need to have, like I said, a very well thought out distribution of in-class and online distribution, because not every topic can be taught online, and a lot of things make more sense to be taught online than in a in-class uh, uh, experience. So you need to think of at this level. You need to have course objectives. You need to have course outcomes, syllabus. You need to map your course outcomes to your program outcomes. That why the student should be studying this particular course, how this is connected to the larger outcomes of the program that the student is a part of, and what are the topic level outcomes that you want to achieve. And I'll tell you why these data will also help you build very, very useful dashboards. The next thing that comes is timetable management. Unlike an online only course where it's an asynchronous and a more learner driven, in a regulated institution, we have time restrictions. We need to start and end a term as per the larger plans of our universities. If for affiliated colleges, and for each university, they have to complete the semesters in a time. So it's not a learner driven, I would say, timelines, but these are more, we have some limitations on timelines. So what effectively what we need to do is timetable needs to be decentralized so that it is dynamic and there is agility in the institution. Uh, you need to optimize for the faculty load, because as you adopt blended learning, there is additional burden on the faculty members to prepare the learning material in an e-resource way. They need to also have some videos recorded. They need to also, they have more staggered classes as against once going to a campus and teaching and then coming out. And you need to map, faculty needs to map the modules and learning hours as per the academic planning that we did, which I showed earlier. So having an organized way to do timetabling in a decentralized manner is very, very important for adopting a blended learning model. Moving on is the examination planning. So again, examinations are not just about conducting online tests. You need to think very carefully about each course, which course, how would you want to have a diverse set of assessments? How would you map these assessments to the course outcomes so that when you conduct the examination, at the end of the examination, you should have an attainment report. Where does each and every student stand in terms of the course outcome attainment, which is very important. And then again, you need to think carefully which assessments can be done online, or which assessments have to be done in an offline environment later on. So this planning again needs to happen much earlier so that you can avoid any kind of last minute chaos that can happen, and you have adequate planning and students are well prepared in advance that where do they need to give online examinations and where they would have to go for an off. So a schema where you distribute between online, offline, internal, external is very, very important in terms of the planning. So with this, I think the whole first phase of your blended learning planning is complete, which is you have all your academic processes, your plans in place, and now we move on to the learning management part, where there are again 4 key things. How does your faculty plan the course? Each lesson needs to be planned very, very meticulously in 3 different kind of or nature of lectures. One is the in-class lectures. Second is what are the pre-recorded videos, which is asynchronous learning, and online classes, which would be your synchronous learning. Assignments, what kind of assignments do you want to give to your students for that particular course? What kind of quizzes do you want to conduct? They could be, for example, in a mathematics course, you would want to use a lot of pictures for diagrams, or so whether they're visually rich quizzes or they are more MCQ, they are more subjective, needs to be planned. And finally, learning in a blended environment is not just about videos. It is a lot about discussions and polls that you simultaneously do while your classes are going on or post or pre the classes to make sure the student engagement is very high, and we are able to offer an enhanced learning environment to them. So first thing is the course planner. So the faculty needs to plan their lessons very wisely. They need to track the course progress. They need to continuously take feedback from the students. Their e-resources have to be planned in details, where they would be using images, where they would need some videos, where would they need documents, and a student e-portfolio where you can customize and actually look at every student's progress in the course. So an overall dashboard for every faculty becomes very important. So they can track how many lessons have been completed, how many e-resources have been shared, how many assignments have been shared, and they have been how many have been graded till now, so that faculty can be in a control of their each and every course. Because in a blended learning model, they can actually lose the track of the progress, because unlike a physical learning environment only, uh, here there is no I would say there's no structured way of, okay, we go in, we teach, and we come back. Here, there is a lot more self-monitoring faculty needs to do. They need to plan their courses at the starting itself. So according to the timetable or the schedule that has been created, they need to plan each and every course, lesson in advance. So a tool where they can see all their classes at one place is very helpful. They can map their topics there, and they can know that, okay, by the XYZ date, my course would be completed as per my plan. And as and when I'm completing the lectures, I can mark my progress that, okay, I've delivered the lecture. So lesson plans typically would include a title. What are you going to teach? It will include a description so that students can read that in advance. If it's an online class, ideally it should have the online class linked internally itself, so that students or faculty don't need to search for it separately. So they can just click and get into the online class right away. It needs to talk about, from a syllabus perspective, which topics does it get connected to, what are the compulsory readings or resources, what are the additional reference material that is there. These are the key components of any lesson that you would want to order for your classes. So synchronous learning is what has become a very important thing these days. So we will talk about, like, we integrating video tools like Zoom, GoTo, Teams, whichever are of importance and are subscribed by the institution. Initiating chatting rooms where real-time communication go between the students while the online classes are going on. Conducting quizzes. So see, teachers are also humans. They cannot teach like 60-minute, in a sequence like 4 classes. So allowing faculty to take quick breaks, like 5-minute breaks in between the online classes, letting them students take quizzes, and faculty can see the scores and be in sync. And the attendance sync can be totally be automated with the the online tools, so that you don't need to manually take attendance. So this is like a synchronous learning where a live class can go on, your resources and your discussions can go parallelly. This is the asynchronous model where you have a pre-recorded videos where self-paced learning can be done, and you can have compulsory readings and reference material. So the idea is, here there is a recorded video, student just has to watch, can put questions or can share his thoughts or her thoughts in the discussion forum, checks what are the quizzes they need to take, and then be done with it. Finally, assessments. So there was, I think, Dr. Pankaj ji spoke about this, that we need to have a very diverse set of assessments, and every course needs to be unique in terms of assessment. So they can be physical, online assignments, quizzes, projects. You can have objective and subjective tests, and all of these needs to be planned very scientifically for each and every course. So you should make a very good use of rubrics for assignments, because this brings in more transparency. It gives enough good feedback for students to understand why they have received a certain score, and it reduces the burden from faculty members of writing remarks or manual assessment. It makes the assessment of assignments very easy and more effective. You could conduct quizzes, you can track the class progress, that, okay, how many students have given what kind of answers, has my class understood the topic. So if you see low scores, then automatically you know the students have not understood the topic, so you can repeat the class. Students can track their scores and see where do they stand in terms of the understanding of the topic. Uh, with multiple diverse set of assessments, faculty has the option to decide what kind of assignments and assessments do they want to consider in a single component that they would want to export to the final calculations for the controller of examination. So faculty can be given that kind of freedom to decide how would they want to do internal class level assessments, and allow them to do the experimentation. Finally, online tests have become very, very important. This is also a very, I would say, open topic at the moment in terms of what is the effectiveness. So what we feel and what we are seeing working in some of the good universities is that online tests are moving away from test of knowledge to test of thinking and application of that knowledge. So if you ask a question which is a question, I can Google and find. So if you ask a student when was the battle of Panipat, the third war was battle was happened. It's very easily available on internet. I can Google the answer and put the answer. But if you ask questions which require critical thinking and application of mind, then it's not that easy to copy. And these are and to make sure, but that the same student is giving examination. Like there was a lot of discussion. You can have artificial intelligence based proctoring, where you are tracking the student screens, you are taking the photographs to ensure the same student is giving the examination. You can track the GPS and IP of the devices. You can disable copy and paste, and you can also have abnormal performance alerts saying a student's certain trajectory can be seen on the platform. So with AI, the proctoring has become easier. So you can conduct fair examinations at the for each and every course that you would want to. And finally, the learning cannot be just limited to lectures. So student engagement across research, industry, trends, competitions, innovation activities. I think we saw one of the panelists talk about how they did poetry and uh, artwork kind of activities with the students. It's very important to not just limit the blended learning environment to online lectures only. How do you conduct online competitions? How do you share information around industry trends with them? How do you conduct photography challenges? There are so many interesting things that you could do using an e-learning platform. And mobility is very, very important in today's environment. Web platforms are not going to be the sustainable way of e-learning. A lot of students cannot afford to have laptops with them. So smartphones are mostly available with students. Internet is become affordable, and slowly the connectivity is also improving day by day. So any e-learning platform that you decide should have a very, very uh, uh, mobile first experience so that students can access all these activities on the platform, on the mobile platform. Quickly, I will skip this very fast. So from an intelligence perspective, this is very important. You should look at what kind of feedback surveys you can conduct. So for example, at the end of the term or mid of the term, can you conduct a faculty feedback report to understand where does the faculty stand in terms of different parameters, what, and comparing that to the average of all the faculty in your campus so that you see relative performance of the faculty and not just absolute numbers. It's important to have different kind of reports and dashboards like course progress, faculty level activity, lot distribution, and a simple dashboards like this where you can track how much course is completed and how many classes have been planned, assignments created. So you have one way to quickly see where are you progressing in terms of the academic delivery. It's important to have suggestive and predictive analytics. So you should look at which students are at the risk of failing, what cognitive skills are required at course level, personality level insights into students. Or students can be, like for example, an extrovert student will have a different behavior than an introvert student. So how do you personalize that mentorship and engagement of the faculty with some of these analytics? Quickly, strategy perspective. I think you should plan your e-learning as you should have robust policies in place to avoid any kind of issues later on. And there are a lot of policies that you need to think about, especially around copyrights and anti-cheating and anti-plagiarism and things like this. You should look at a decentralized adoption of technology. If you're thinking one person will be able to drive, or three people will be able to drive technology in your institution, that's not going to be possible. So you need to have a decentralized way of adopting technology. You need to think of a long-term training and capacity building, where trainings, how do you include technology adoption in KRAs, feedback sessions, and providing suitable technology infrastructure to your faculty members. Long-term goals, you cannot look immediately on this. So just to wrap up, we are, your technology partner in case you want to adopt digital learning in a more comprehensive way, where an administration ERP is connected seamlessly to learning and examination system, and there are reports and analytics on top, so that you can actually have all the 20, 30 tools that you're using right now. You can actually have all of them on a single platform in a more controlled and organized way. So thank you so much for the opportunity to Let's, and thank you so much to all of you for being a part of the session.
Great, Hemant. Thanks for this excellent presentation. I think it has been of benefit to all our audience who are from the higher education ecosystem, the higher education colleges, the universities, government universities, private universities who are watching this. I think it has been highly useful.